Hi, I'm Rachel with Carefree Crafting. We're going to make a Valentine's Day quilt today. We're going to make a jelly roll race. It will have tiles with some hearts in them. I will show you how to make these tiles. The supplies you'll need a pair of scissors, an iron. This is Wonder Under. I got this at Walmart. Got a couple fat quarters, and this is what's left of them. So as you can see, I didn't use very much, but I didn't want to have the tiles all be one color. And then we have a jelly roll. This is from Riley Blake Designs, and it's called Hello Sweetheart. I got this from fabric.com. Let me show you how to make the tiles real quick. Right, in order to make the tiles, we have some 2.5-inch squares cut out, and I cut them from all fabrics. We have 40 strips in the jelly roll, so I cut out 39 of these, which is 13 of each color. The best way to get the paper backing off of the Wonder Under without losing half of the glue is to get it warm, hit it with a little steam right before you take it apart. And now I've left all the adhesive on the back of the fabric. And you just place it on the fabric and be certain to leave room for your 1/4-inch seam all around. So like that. Then we'll just put the iron on it and let it steam for a few seconds. And now that's sealed. On this one, I'm going to show you how to do more than one layer. So we have a red square, we have a black heart, and then we have this little pink square, and we're going to cut out a little pink heart. And we'll put them together like that. So let's hit these hearts with some steam to loosen the paper. And see how it curls? That's how you know the paper is good and loose. If you peel too fast, some of the glue will stay with the paper, but if you go nice and slow, the glue all comes off on the back of the fabric. So we'll steam on the first layer. There's one layer. Place your heart and then put the iron back on it for a few more seconds. And now you have a heart and heart. I did try to include everybody on these tiles. Valentine's Day, most people think about new relationships where everything's great, or maybe you're feeling a bit dizzy. But some of us are a little broken-hearted, and some of us have been put back together. Some of us have been hit by Cupid for the first time, and then some of us have moony-eyed teenagers, and we'd like to meet Cupid in a back alley. And I've been seeing this joke on Facebook for a while that there is no greater love in the universe than that between a grumpy dad and the dog they didn't want. And sometimes devotion has 4 paws and a tail. And I'm a grumpy parent who's been adopted by the 2 cats that I didn't want. Let's get into this jelly roll. So I always debate, do I cut this ribbon or do I want to save it for later? I think I'll just ease it off. Alright, so we've got a variety here. I think I might have unrolled this wrong. So we've got several blacks. We've got, looks like ombre hearts on black fabric. We've got typewriters with love letters. We've got hearts and flowers. And then we've got hearts of gold. Then we've got several whites. I think that one's more of a pink. And it kind of looks like the pattern repeats. So we've got hearts and flowers. We've got love letters. And we've got ombre red and pink hearts. And then we've got little red hearts. Alright, so that's our housekeeping taken care of. I've got a cotton thread on my sewing machine. I've wound 6 bobbins. There's 1 in the machine and 5 in my hand. We'll see how many we use. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take a strip and we'll just cut the selvages off. Then attach this to one end of the strip, and it doesn't matter which way you do it, because this fabric on the strip is directional. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it doesn't matter which way we attach this, because once we start cutting this quilt, it's going to spin all directions. And then we grab the next one and we grab the next tile. We will end up with one strip that doesn't have a tile on it, and that's okay. We just didn't want to tile. We didn't want to tile in the corner where it would get cut off in the quilt binding. Again, we're cutting off the selvage. I'm just losing the selvage. And sewing a tile to one end. If the tile's upside down, or if it follows the direction of the fabric or the print in the fabric, because some of these will end up upside down, some of them will be right side up. So if the tiles are a little bit wonky, it'll probably look better. Alright, so now we have one strip and a long chain of 39 others, and they all have a tile on them. So our next step is to cut this apart. You could use the blade on the side of your sewing machine, or you can use a pair of scissors. Some people have this little gizmo that you stand on your desk and you can just do it like that. And one more thing, cut the selvage off your remaining strip. One more thing I forgot to mention, I started a stopwatch on my phone at the beginning of this to show how long we've been working on it, and so far 12 minutes and a few odd seconds. Now that we're done with that, our next step is to sew this into one big monster strip. You want to start with the one that doesn't have a tile on it, and then you grab any strip that's not this fabric, and you sew one end of this strip to the tile on this strip. Take this one, just throw it out of the way so you don't sew this into a loop. Now you have the second strip you picked up. Pick a strip that's any fabric but this one. These fabrics may come together later, but that's okay. You just don't want to grab 2 strips of the same kind back to back. Then you sew these 2 together. Now you have this loop, just throw it out of the way. Take the end of this fabric you just picked up, pick up any fabric that's not this one. And sew this tile to the end of this strip. Okay, that's done. The time on our stopwatch is 30 minutes. Our next step is to cut this apart, find the end and hold on to it, and then just let everything else fall to the floor. And if you find any unattached strips that are somehow mixed in with the finished strip, because as you can see it's a bit of a mess, then you can just attach it to this end. But you need this end and the other end that you'll find when you get it all cut apart. You need that for the next step. Alright, now we have both ends. I didn't find any loose strips. Alright, so we have both ends. We have the thread cut between all the other pieces, and at this point this is just in the floor. You have over 1,400 inches of fabric here. Where'd the other end go? So our next step is to cut one of these strips in half. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You just want to cut off half of it. So that everything is offset. Otherwise, when you fold this in half and start sewing, your tiles all end up in the same place. We don't want that. This early in the game, this will twist. It's okay. We're just going to put this together and sew down this end all the way down, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so we're coming to the end of the first pass, and I did a little bit of math. You have 120 feet of strip, and then you fold it in half, you sew one side together, and you take it down to 60 feet of strip. And as you can see, it twists. Now when this gets thicker, it won't twist as much. But right now, we're just going to find the middle of this the best we can, and just cut it. And then we can smooth out all of that twist. Right, so we got a little bit off on finding the middle. We're just going to cut that off. Won't make a lot of difference in the final quilt. Now we have a strip that's 60 feet long and 2 strips wide. So we need to find the other end. Okay. And now we'll put the two ends together and we'll sew down a side. And the second pass will take this from 60 feet to 30 feet. The first pass took 25 minutes, and as you saw, it got very twisted. This pass will take a little bit less time, and it won't get as twisted. Toward the end, it will take almost no time, and it won't twist at all. Now we're nearing the end of our second pass. As you can see, it still twists a little bit, but much less than the first time. So we'll just pull this tight, find the center the best we can, and we'll cut it. And then we can finish sewing the second pass. This one only took about 15 minutes to sew. So they do get faster as you go, and as the quilt gets thicker and the seam gets shorter. Second pass, second cup of tea, we're on a roll. So now we have a quilt that's about 8 inches by 30 feet. So hold on to this end, and now we're going to keep instead of running the whole thing through our hand, we'll keep our hand on one edge of it so that it doesn't twist as much. It becomes more of a mess as it gets thicker for it to twist. And this also unfolds it, makes it easier to sew it together. We'll put the two sides together and we can either sew here or we can sew here, and I kind of like this better, so we'll do that. Alright, so we're nearing the end of this again, and it didn't twist this time because we took time to run our hand along it. So what we're going to do is pull this straight and then fold it, and once we'll lay it on the table to cut. Once it starts getting a little wider like this, that way we can get the crease and get it cut evenly. Now we'll finish this. Now we'll unfold this same way we did. Hold on to the edge. Just open it up the same way we did. It's now that it's a bit wider, it's falling open much easier. And now it's a little bit more awkward to handle. It's a little bit more shuffling and shifting to be done. And now we'll do it again. Alright, so we're at the end of another pass. This one only took 6 minutes. As I said, they get faster and faster. Alright, and that's our last pass done. Now we can unfold our blanket. You have a nice throw-size blanket top at this point. So here's the finished quilt top. It's not quilted yet. It measures out at 53 by 65 inches, which is a nice throw size. If you need it bigger, you can always add a border. And you can see where the directional fabric, sometimes some of it points up, some of it points down. This strip here got cut in half, so some of the hearts are pointing down, some are pointing up. And the tiles get flipped all around. So we didn't have to put a lot of thought into keeping everything going up or going down. It's all getting turned around. All right, let's get this quilted. So we've got our jelly roll race all basted. I've got a cotton batting, and I've got solid red for the backing. I just pin basted this. We need to pick a quilting thread. I've got several here that I think would work. I've got this variegated red and pink. Don't like the cream. It stands out too much. And the white I think is a little stark against the black, although it looks nice against all the other colors. The black is a little stark against everything except itself. So we'll roll those out. So, looks like we're down to solid red. These are two spools of the same color, or the variegated red, and I think I like the variegated, because we've got a little bit of pink there, and we've got a little bit of red there, and it's not, neither color is too stark. The plain red is nice, but the variegated red is better. So we'll get the quilt under the needle. I haven't pulled my bottom thread up yet. We'll get the quilt under the needle and maneuver to our starting position. And I will pull the bottom thread up through the quilt. And drop my presser foot. And then if I just sew back and forth on this spot once or twice, now those threads are locked. And I can clip them. When we come to one of the tiles, the Wonder Under is kind of a weak adhesive. I could sit here and pick this up with my fingernail. The washing machine will definitely dislodge it. So what we'll want to do is just go over that in some form. tack it down. And then we'll go back to our quilting. We want to make sure that we go over each tile or our appliques will come up the first time we wash this quilt. I know that's upside down. So we're just going to do a meander. It's a simple all over design, and every now and then I'll put a heart in it. Be back when I'm done. That's one jelly roll and 39 tiles. The tiles took an evening to make. The quilt top took about 2 hours to sew together, and then the quilting and the binding took about an hour and a half. I hope you've liked this quilt. I hope you'll use this technique. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook under the same name, Carefree Crafting. I hope you have a good day. Happy quilting.